All right, hi everybody. I am Tyler Aaron, and today I'm here to talk to you about the 4-day school week and how to get it implemented into more school districts. I personally think that the 4-day school week is more beneficial than the traditional 5-day school week to school districts, and I think the best way to get the 4-day school week implemented into more schools is to attack at the local level rather than the state level. And just to kind of rehash from my last speech, kind of the reasons why I think it's better is because it can help your school save money. It will increase attitude and attendance within your own school. It will help so you have fewer disciplinary problems. And there are studies that show that there is no negative impact on student achievement. And even in a couple studies, there are signs where they showed improvement on student achievement. And so to get right into it, I'm going to talk about the state level, the local level, and kind of presenting that information to your own school board. So I'm going to start out with the state level, and I don't think it's the best way to go about it. The state leaves most of the options of the schools up to their own school board. For example, we all start and end at different times, and like I said, I have a 4-day school week. You have a 5-day school week, maybe, or maybe you even do have a 4-day school week. But either way, those options are left up to the school board for most things. And the state still could pass a law that would mandate it, but that'd be really hard getting the entire state on board with it and getting it through all of legislation. I just don't foresee that happening. So instead, what I suggest for everybody to do would be to go to the local, would be to attack at the local level. It's a lot easier to convince a smaller group of people, like your own school board, rather than the entire state. And then in order to implement the 4-day school week into more school districts, people need to bring it up to their own school board. The best way is going to be to make your community aware, start a petition, and get influential people on board with it. Basically, those three things will help tremendously, and I'm going to talk about those when it comes into presenting that information to your own local school board. And overall, if you want to get the entire state on board with it, it's going to help by having just more or more schools in general doing it. Per se, like right now, there's not that many schools that do it. But if we can get more and more schools to go to the 4-day school week, it's going to be a lot easier to convince the state. But I still don't quite foresee the entire state going along with it, so that's why we need to attack at the local level. And so to do that, you're going to need to present this information. Before you go into it, you're going to want to do your research. And just to kind of go over some of those things that you could use as your research are some of the things I used last week, or actually the week before that, in my own speech. And I used an article from Hewitt and Denny, the 4-day school week impact on student academic performance. That was an article from 2011. And in that, they kind of talked about how you can save money. And then they also had a study with the student achievement, and they found that there wasn't a negative impact on it. And then another one is from Shoemaker in 2002, the effects of 4-day school schedule undecided. And in that one, they talked about the morale and how it is increased, along with the attendance, and also how there's fewer disciplinary problems in it. And then my last one is from Yarbrough and Gilman, and in their article from 2006 titled "From 5 Days to 4," they had a school switch from a 4-day school, or from a 5-day school week to a 4-day school week. Excuse me. It was from 5 to 4, and in that study, they tested kids before and after, and their test scores actually went up in that one. And so you're gonna want to go in, do that research, and present that to your school board. And along with that, you're gonna want to have that petition, because just saying that John Smith agrees with me is not that influential. Having that name signed on that piece of paper saying that they agree with it is a lot more influential. And just having a whole list of names overall is what's going to make or break you. And then also, you're going to want to find people in your community that are very influential. People, with them, people say big names, or, just have a huge influence in your community. They're well-liked people, and those people are going to be the people you want to convince the most. you're going to want them to come to that school board meeting and present the information. And if you don't have one of those people, then the more the merrier. Just bring in as many people as you can. Find the best influential speaker out of your group that you can to bring up that information to the school board, and then from there, you hope the best. So like I said, you're going to want to get your community involved. You're going to want to have those influential people get that petitions going with names on it, and then present that with a very influential speaker, somebody that's just great with speaking, and or somebody that is just influential in your community. Maybe they're not the best speaker, but if they have a say in what happens in your community, that'll help the most. And overall, attack at the local level rather than the state level. And that's all I have for you guys. Thank you.